Hey guys, welcome in. Let's talk about spirituality today. There were 2 or 3 things that when I got to this point, my spirituality started to become a friend and not a judge in my life. Spirituality is a tough topic. It's a tough topic, and specifically because we've got a lot of history. I know that we think that sometimes history is just this thing that's reserved for class, and books and movies that completely change all the facts to make something entertaining. But our history is alive in us. If you don't know what epigenetics is, this is epigenetics. Now, they've done a lot of really interesting things. I remember they did a scientific study with glowworms. And these glowworms, they didn't start glowing unless they were introduced to a certain temperature of water. I believe it was water colder than so-and-so and so forth. And what they found is that if they took one generation of those worms and exposed them so that they started glowing, then 6 generations later, the worms would glow. For no other reason than the fact that their ancestors had, without being exposed to the colder water. Why do I bring up this incredibly interesting story? I know you found it interesting, don't lie to me. That was fun, that was scientific. It's because epigenetics is real to us. Further past, if my family has a history of violence or alcoholism, then I'm more, likely to become involved in it. That stuff, we know that now, guys. Let's not play with that. But it goes further back. Now, I know what you're thinking. Garrett, I already have enough problems dealing with my own stuff inside. And I feel you. Me too. But what I want to use this is a stepping stone. Yeah? A stepping stone of understanding, which says, hey, it's not all my fault. Because if I can take that out, then it's a different conversation. Now, how does that apply to what we're talking about today? Our version of spirituality has a lot of things that have been grandfathered to us, passed down the line, that are really cool, and a lot of them are terrible, absolutely terrible. And so we get this thing where we're just like, I grew up going to church. My father was a preacher in the Methodist church. And so I spent a lot of time there. And he became a district superintendent, which is kind of back office stuff where you're more in the political part of it. And so I saw a lot of different sides of things. He used to famously tell a story about how somebody came to a meeting and really set a gun down on the table and was just like, all right, let's talk. And this is the sort of bag that comes to us with spirituality and religion. Because you can't say one without the other. Their stories are intertwined whether we like it or not. So, with those 2 things being said, that spirituality and religion are entwined, and we've got to understand that this is a long history of confusion that's been brought down to us. Spirituality shouldn't suck. It sucked before for various reasons. It shouldn't suck now. Now is the time and the place with the openness that we can recognize what's been given to us and say, look at that, I don't want that. On all sorts of different topics, we have more latitude and more bandwidth to do that than ever before. Now, I will recognize as a mature adult, I'm not mature, that there are still lots of really unfortunate things happening around the world in the name of religion. I get that. There is, however, really, really beautiful openness and possibility happening at the same time. This isn't the period of the Crusades. It isn't the period of witch hunts. And now it's a possibility that we can get past all of that weight and start to redefine our spirituality. What does spirituality mean to you? When you think about it, what pictures automatically come to mind? Because I'm going to tell you some of the pictures that come to mind for me. They look like this, and like this, and like this. Do you know what all of those pictures have in common? Don't worry, I'll wait. You can put it in the comments if you got something clever for me. All of those pictures have in common, it does not look like fun at all. Now, millennials have gotten hated on a lot because people say that they're not serious enough and that they don't get things done, and that if it's not fun, then they're not involved. That can be a gift and a curse, guys. And the fact of the matter is that this old, dusty, suffering and judgment-based version of spirituality, it's not moving the needle. And in a lot of ways, it never has. So the question is, how do we start to remove ourselves from that? Because while I don't have any historical backing, I haven't done any research, I haven't read the Dead Sea Scrolls, I theorize that Jesus was having a great time. That he was having a lot of fun. Yes, they had some dramatic stuff involved in it, but that he was really enjoying the hell out of himself. He's like, look guys, I'm out here walking on water, I'm making wine, what do you want from me? Yes, it's dramatic, but look how cool this stuff is. I'm the Son of God, this is awesome. And he said, you are too. The Buddha, don't get me wrong, you saw that picture before. Looks all skinny, he's like this, that, the other. But I come from the Kamikaze lineage, and we have a lot of these crazy motherfuckers who go off in the woods and things like that. A lot of the times, if you went and talked to them in that, they're just like, yes, I know the physical thing is looking a little funky right now, but I'm actually doing better than you could possibly imagine. And I've had that experience too, where my body was literally like eating through all of the fat, which there isn't a lot. And so it's like retardedly skinny, and it was just like, hey, Garrett, you okay? I'm like, yeah, the body's going through some things right now. But somewhere along the way, specifically because of some of the tie-ins of religion to spirituality as a form of control, we decided to start highlighting the suffering. And we did that not only with spirituality and religious leaders, we also did it with a lot of our great historical leaders as well. And we said that if you suffer more, then it's worth more. You get bonus points. Don't believe it. You look right here. Look right in the camera. Don't believe it. They're lying. They're lying. You don't get any bonus points for suffering. Now, I'll talk about this in another video. Real talk, sometimes you're gonna have to suffer. Life just comes with it. But it's not the point. And so, the point is, how can I find some space between me and the suffering so that I can enjoy myself? So, this is a big subject, and honestly, I just want to get it started in this video because I'm going to be talking about this for the rest of my life. That I want to take away the stigma of spirituality, that it should be old and dusty and boring and that you can't enjoy your life. I'm out here to tell you guys that a lot of the times it's been theorized, because they don't know this, that for some reason God doesn't live in the club. God doesn't live in the brothel. God doesn't live in the slums. God doesn't live here. God doesn't live there. It's not true. Oh, if you're drinking, then you're not godly. That's not true. If you're smoking weed, then you're not God. That's not true. If you're making a lot of money, you're not godly. Not true. And so now we have this thing where we think, oh, if I'm going to be spiritual, then I have to cut out all of the earthly stuff and not have any fun anymore and live, like a bum on the street, or go off in the forest, or go up into the mountains, this, that, or the other. Screw that. You want to eat meat still? Great. Eat meat still. You want to drink still? Great. If you want to do drugs, I'm not telling you to go do it, but if that's where you're at right now, don't believe that somehow this disqualifies you from being on your spiritual journey, which you're on no matter what. And that's the first part of acceptance, that my spiritual journey is here no matter what they say, no matter what this book says, no matter what, I'm on my spiritual journey right now. Everything is my spiritual journey. So what I'm doing when I'm getting spiritual is I'm becoming aware of that. And by becoming aware of that, I can start enjoying it more. Through the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs and the uglies and this, that, or the other, because it gets thick sometimes. And all that stuff I told you about, guess what? God is in the strip club. Do you know what else is in the strip club? A lot of distractions. Yes, God is on Wall Street. Do you know what else is there? A lot of distractions. And so, whether you call it God, Allah, Jah, I don't care what name you use, universal intelligence, they're all great. Whatever vibes with you, whatever your pair of shoes is. This isn't about becoming a monk. Specifically not now. If we're going to help people, a lot of the times we've got to be integrated into this world. And that means, hopefully not a whole lot of it, but social media. I mean, where are you watching this video at right now? Hopefully not too much of these things, but capitalism and understanding how money moves, there's nothing wrong with that. These are powerful tools to be able to use. But let's get this right. Let's get this right. Let's come from here, where we're knowing it in our gut. And then we can enjoy these things in moderation. You can be the drunken kung fu master, yes, but that's just not very realistic. That's a 1% of 1% of 1% thing. It's like all these Indian guys, they have a lot of people in India in some of these sects that's just they're spiritual as all get out, and they're on the absolute fringes of society because the way they did it is so extreme. That's not really gonna work for most of us in the Western world. So we've got to find out what spirituality looks like for us now. And we can take all of that history and we can use it as a guidelines, hey, these were the issues that were facing us before now. How does that possibly help me navigate my situation now? And more than anything else, how can we make it fun? Because I am telling you, you can go out there and you can become quasi-spiritual in some other method of perspective where you held on real tight and you got to this point where you're kind of able to get things done. If you're not enjoying it, what's the point? And that goes for everything. Did you make $1 billion? If you're not enjoying it, you lost. Did you raise a great family? If you didn't enjoy it ever, you lost. So, I'm gonna be super spiritual over here, but I'm gonna make awesome money, and I'm going to eat and drink like a king. Sometimes that king might be a little bit more vegetarian, guys. Sometimes that king doesn't drink much alcohol because it's a distraction. But I'm gonna eat good. I'm gonna drink good. I'm gonna love my life. I'm gonna dance. You remember in Dirty Dancing? It said dancing was the devil. They're still doing this shit now. This is the devil, this is the devil. That's the devil, blah, blah, blah. The devil doesn't exist. I'm sorry to rankle any of my Christian fans. I love you guys, but the devil doesn't exist. It's all us. It's all us. We've got to get to know and be friends with all of us. Then we're going to find peace. Then we're going to find joy. Spirituality shouldn't and doesn't have to suck. It can be joyful and expansive, and that's something worth sharing. If I give you this old, dusty, suffering, judgment-based spirituality and be like, here, come eat this, why would you want that? I don't want to proselytize anybody. I don't want to evangelize anybody. I want to tell them my story. And I want to be enjoying my story so much that it's awesome for me and that it shines as a light for you where you can say, that's fucking dope. Give me some of that. And hopefully you pass it on. I know that might have been a little bit much for some of you. I get that. But that's where my life has brought me to, where I'm a little bit much sometimes. Guys, if you dig it, man, drink your tea today. Be loving, be joyful. Do your boy a favor. If you stayed with me this long to watch this whole video, God forbid, man, hit the like button. Subscribe for your boy, yeah? It's so much fun doing this together. I'll see you guys next time. I'm reopening my podcast to get to my 100th episode. I think I'm on like 54, 55. I'm reopening my podcast this week. So guys, go check that out. The link is in the description. I love you. Next time.
I keep on falling down.
Okay.
Trying to catch the crowd.
Okay. Hört mal alle zu.
Wanna be cruising through time, cause regrets on my mind,
Der
yeah.
hier ist aus dem Herzen.